hands up in the air. And just to give you a sense as well, we've covered mental health, the linkages between criminality and mental health, government involvement in food security, healthcare in general, and the National Energy Program and branding of the party. So I recommend that your questions don't duplicate these particular themes so that we can look at alternative options. And we're going to begin here at the front, sir. If you can stand up and state your name and keep your question to no longer than 30 seconds.
I'm Jim Dawson. The question I have, we have people who have been in office, have never been in office, and have come from another party. What were the statistics of the win of the Liberal in the riding you're planning on running? And how do you plan to secure your seat, especially if you don't have a seat right now or you're coming from another party?
Fantastic question. So I'm going to repeat it for the people at the back in case you didn't hear the entirety of the question. Basically, the question boils down to what were the statistics of a Liberal win in the riding that each of these individuals is planning to run in, and what are they essentially going to do to ensure that they win that particular riding. So what we're going to do is begin with Hugh MacDonald, and I'll pass you my microphone.
Thank you very much, Jim. I come from a constituency that on May 8th celebrated its 25th anniversary, its 7th consecutive Alberta Liberal Party election win. Woo! We expect to win. We work to win. And I hope to win again. The Conservatives have thrown everything at us because I do my job, I do my research, and my job is to keep them accountable. Sometimes they don't like it, and they have thrown a lot of resources into Edmonton Gold Bar to try to defeat me. They've also thrown resources into Edmonton Centre to try to defeat Laurie Blakeman because we stand up, we hold them accountable in the Legislative Assembly, and we're going to organise at our constituency level, and hopefully we're going to do that again. And the secret to having 7 consecutive elections is constituency organisation. Thank you.
Thanks very much. My constituency has had 5 consecutive elections with a Liberal, 1 with my predecessor, Michael Henry, and 4 with myself. And to me, the key is paying attention to your constituents. You have to be there, do the events, spend the time. I try and do 50% of my time in my constituency and 50% of my time in the assembly and work for caucus and the party and stuff. So if I am offered a position as the leader, I'm going to have to cut back some of my time on the constituency, but you got to fight hard and not give up too much of it, because those are the people that I'm ultimately responsible for. They're the ones that put me here, and to them I owe my first loyalty because they're my boss. Thanks.
I'm really excited about the challenge of winning Calgary Varsity. As you know, many of you may know, Harry Chase is no longer going to run in Calgary Varsity. I have a very unique opportunity, and that is when I made my decision to try and pursue being nominated for Calgary Varsity, I did it with very intentional understanding, and that is that Harry Chase and I share a lot of the same values. Harry Chase has been working with me very strongly, going to the farmers markets and to the different Stampede breakfasts and different functions around Calgary Varsity, and helping to introduce me to those people so that I can they can become more familiar with myself. I aim to work and just commit to the people of Varsity the same hard work ethic, and I also commit to upholding the same character and values that Harry Chase did. That's going to be part of it. The other part is just simply hard work, wearing out the most shoes and getting out there and meeting people.
Edmonton Meadowlark is where West Edmonton Mall is. It's a very Liberal constituency. It was 5 out of 6 elections. I said, if you want to represent people, you have to first listen to them. I spent 10 months knocking on 12,000 doors in a very non-PC area. We had ran a very non-partisan campaign on the issues of the people. Having had not much money from the party, no support from the PCs, we had the 2nd biggest victory in Edmonton. It's an area that the constituents, I listen to them, I work hard on their behalf, I sacrifice for them. And not one said go back to the PCs. They all said stay as an independent until the next election, allow us the chance to vote. We want you to run Liberal. I had the biggest team in non-election year for the PC's, 130 people. Most of that team has come, half of that team has come with me. We had an AGM with 45 people, and I believe in building teams. We've already door knocked for a month and have 5 town hall forums and signed up hundreds of people for the Alberta Liberal Party before I declared. Thank you.
I ran here twice in the city of Calgary, in Calgary East, and the way that happened was when I first looked at running for the Alberta Liberal Party myself, the leader of the party at the time, Kevin Taft, and I had a meeting, and he suggested that this riding was looking for a candidate, and we were at that point in time just trying to fill the ridings. I met with the riding association, and at that point in time we accepted, but we had to make a promise that we would run there twice for 2 consecutive elections, whether we won or lost, and I gave my word on that. Unfortunately, we did not win, and part of the problem is, it's not that we weren't out working hard, because let me tell you, we were out working hard when it was 30 below, banging on doors, but the problem was the party did not let us get started early enough. They kept holding us back, holding us back. They wanted to have a competitive nomination meeting, and there was no competition. There was nobody going to challenge me, but for whatever reason, they held it back. And Darshan knows exactly what I'm talking about. So my thing is, let's get these things done and get them done quick.
So we're going to go to one more question from the floor, and I saw a hand up there early on. If you could, yep, that's you, Bukula. And there's a roaming microphone coming around.
My name is Bukola, and my question is on education. What is the Liberal Party doing to educate more women to be politically keen? To be politically keen, so that they can also bring the young ones along.
So a question about gender equity and political representation and your motivations for getting women into politics. What we're going to do here is begin with Laurie and then pass the microphone around.
Thank you very much for that question. Actually, quite a bit. We have always been on the record about increasing democratic renewal. Part of that is proportional representation, and a big part of that is making sure that the parties would put forward lists that were gender balanced. So that's part of our ongoing policy that the Liberal Party has developed. But more than that, I've done things like sent letters out to every elected woman in Alberta, school trustee, municipal councillor, federal candidates, provincial candidates who had been women, asking them all to consider running for the Alberta Liberals. I also sought their support when I was running for the Speaker of the Assembly and approached the women's institutes in rural Alberta and asked them to lobby their MLA and the women in their area on our behalf. So we are certainly aware of it, and we continue to work hard to bring women into the party. Thank you.
I'm a strong advocate of seeing more women become involved. I mean, women make up more than half of our population, and for them to not be involved in the political process doesn't speak well of our society. And I know that they have, many of the women that I know have a strong interest in participating, but it seems to be somewhat of a male-dominated sport. And I would strongly fight to see more women involved. In my history with the Alberta Liberals, I've been engaged in a lot of campaigns. I worked really hard on Bridget Pastor's campaign twice now to help her become elected. I think that just simply goes to show my commitment to working with women and seeing them successful. In the federal campaign, I helped Sipa on her campaign. I went up to Edmonton and helped Mary MacDonald. I think we need to get behind our women and see them be successful. If we're going to find 87 strong constituencies or build those 87 strong, we're going to need those 87 candidates, and many of them will be women.